All right. Hey guys, welcome everyone for tuning in to the Project Nourish podcast. We're your host, Megan Gump, nutritional therapy practitioner.
And my name is Casey Poe Campbell. I am also a nutritional therapy practitioner and licensed esthetician.
And we are here to bring you guys a podcast about all things holistic health, wellness, and non-toxic living. So we're pretty excited to get this podcast launched and started. And just to kind of get a little background about me and Casey, why you guys are learning about us and hopping into this podcast. So a little bit about myself, Megan Gump, certified nutritional therapy practitioner. So really kind of like what got me into this was I started working for a all natural protein shake company called Mix One back in 2010. And it was pretty cool. It was a little company out of Boulder, Colorado, which Colorado always has a little piece of my heart. I went to school there. So working for them in Florida was definitely super cool. Part of the South Florida marketing team. And so Mix One was all about, healthy living and especially like fueling your body for pre and post workout. So I was really blessed to work with a lot of athletes and, pregnant moms and other people that just an all natural clean protein shake was super beneficial for. So this is like what really opened up my eyes to nutrition, was just learning about like protein and when the body needs it and fueling ourselves with whole foods beyond protein and all that kind of stuff. So I really just got into it. I started working out a lot and I was doing hot yoga all the time and I was running and I was also participating in a lot of events just being in marketing. So I would be at, 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons at 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning. Really getting to take the time to connect with the community and all of these athletes and just everyone involved. And then I, of course, was at the finish line with a post-workout, recovery shake and just letting them know why it's so important to get protein in their body and all those kinds of different fundamentals about post-workout recovery. But so that really just sparked my interest in nutrition. And at the time, it's funny too, because I was going through my schooling at FAU in Boca Raton to be a geologist. So I was going through school, learning about rocks and everything, but just really loved nutrition and what I was doing for work. So I kind of took the time to actually really look into different nutritional programs and that kind of stuff. And long story short, my parents basically both advised me that I needed to finish my degree, get my bachelor's of science. And so I stuck it out, got my bachelor's of science in geology, and then I moved to Austin, Texas, where I pursued a career just in geology. I was working for Apple. I was doing GIS data technician stuff, super not nutrition whatsoever. But I, of course, was, working out and fueling my own body and had my personal hobbies and interests, along the side, but wasn't doing what my heart was super into career-wise. And so after working for Apple for a year, I gave myself a year. I committed myself to it. And I was just like, I'm really just not into working for the man and, all that good jazz. So that's when I really took seriously looking into a nutritional program. And I got blessed and I found the Nutritional Therapy Association. After lots of years of, researching and trying to figure out which one was the best, that's what led me to the NTA. So here I am today, certified nutritional therapy practitioner. And yeah, I'm just loving it. I'm loving the experience. I'm loving the career change and the things that I do now. So that's just kind of a little bit of information about what really sparked my interest in nutrition. Of course, now that I am a certified nutritional therapy practitioner, really just like learning all of these different kind of instances throughout my life. Like when I was younger, I had a lot of food allergies. When I was in high school, I dealt with mild depression. And now where I am today, just realizing things that I didn't realize before. So that's also been kind of an eye-opener and a part of healing. It's all part of the process and the healing journey. So, but definitely more to come later on in that when you guys get to know me much, much, much better down the road in our future podcasts. But yeah, so that's just kind of a little tidbit about me that I wanted to share with you guys super quick. So Casey, tell us your story.
Well, thank you, Megan. So, funny story, when Megan and I met at the Nutritional Therapy Association, we were talking about how we both have degrees in like geology. So, mine is actually geography, not geology, but we both studied GIS and we totally had that like nerdy background that way, but we weren't really using them. So, we're really good at Jeopardy when it comes to those type
Yeah.
of things. So,
Yeah.
a little bit about my entry into the nutrition world. So, I had always had really bad problem skin starting when I was 13 years old, just constant acne. And I was on pretty much every single acne medication, both topical and oral medication that you can be on. And my acne did not clear up until I finally went on Accutane when I was a senior in high school. And if anybody has ever been on Accutane, it is a gnarly prescription. I mean, my lips would peel every day and just all kinds of bad stuff. But you know what? It did the trick and I wouldn't trade it because my skin was clear going into college, which was all that I really cared about. So fast forward about 7 years and I became a flight attendant. And during that time, my diet was horrible. I was drinking a lot. You're constantly, like not sleeping right, all of that good stuff. And so I started breaking out really bad again. But then I also started having psoriasis, and I had no idea what psoriasis was or anything like that. I thought I'd had an allergic reaction to something. And so I was on a flight and wearing black nylons to try to cover up my psoriasis. And a passenger handed me a pamphlet on some kind of nutritional supplement. And he was like, "Yeah, I see your legs and it looks like psoriasis." And I was so embarrassed by that. I thanked him and I took the pamphlet, went into the lavatory and threw it away, and then cried for a little bit because I was like a dramatic 25-year-old flight attendant. So that's what we did, was we cried a lot. And I went to the dermatologist because that was the only thing I knew. So I walked out of the dermatologist's office with yet again 2 new prescriptions, one for my acne and one for my psoriasis. So it actually wasn't until, and then after, sorry, I missed a part of my story there. So after I was a flight attendant, then I became a licensed esthetician because I knew that there had to be another way to fix my skin. Never thought about food or diet being a way. So I was just like, oh, okay, topically, that is going to be the way to fix my skin. So I left aesthetic school with the worst skin of my life. Anybody who's been to aesthetic school knows that your skin does not like getting facials every single day. So I was just so demoralized that I'd spent all this money on going to aesthetic school to fix my own skin, and it was just terrible. So once again, left the dermatologist's office with another oral prescription and a topical prescription to try to get my acne under control. So it actually wasn't until I became a triathlete and I tried this nutritional program called the Whole30 for the pure reason of losing weight before a big race that I had coming up. And so with this program, I cut out all dairy, grains, alcohol, processed sugar, and I had the best skin that I had ever had in probably 17, almost 20 years. And I was just amazed by it. I had no idea that there was any connection or anything like that. And that was when I actually made the connection that, hey, what we put in our face shows up on our face. And so that, just clearing up my acne with cutting out dairy, that turns out to be what really makes me break out, is dairy. That really got me started on the path of nutrition and finding the Nutritional Therapy Association. So there's my story into talking poop and pimples all the time now.
Two of my
So
favorite topics.
yeah, right. So Megan, do you have something that we want to do on the podcast is we always want to have some type of funny story, whether it be from our childhood or something that happened this past week or whatever. So Megan, do you want to share your first little funny story?
Yes, I do. I would love to. And I just want to take a second, Casey, to kind of go back to something that you said during your story. So I just love that you said what we put in our face goes on our face, because it is so true. Your body is your largest organ, and I don't think that a lot of people think about that.
Your body is your largest organ, or your skin?
Your skin. Your skin. Oh my gosh. Thank you for the correction. You know what I meant though. That's when you know you guys are friends and you're an NTP, when you can just correct each other.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But yeah, so exactly. I just thought that was super cool because I've never heard someone put it that way, but it's so true. So I just wanted to kind of comment on that and say that was super neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so yeah, my funny story. Okay, so just so that you guys can hear a little, get a little laughter out of me. So when I was young, I mean, I was, oh gosh, I probably had to have been like 6. So I was going to a private Catholic school. I know, pretty crazy for me if you guys know who I am today, but I did go to a private Catholic school from kindergarten to 6th grade. So it was like right before I left. And that's a whole nother story, but we won't get into that today. We'll save that for another time. So we were playing football out in the big field that we have at the school. And anyways, we were just tossing the football back and forth. And the guy that I was playing football with, I don't even know why I was playing football with this larger, older boy in the first place, but
He was probably cute.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. um, but so we were playing football and he threw the football at me. And all I remember is this football coming right at me from like so high up in the air. And I'm just staring at it, trying to catch it, right? Long story short, so the football obviously missed my hands and went straight to my face. So it nailed me like right on the nose in between my eyebrows pretty much. And so ever since then, I mean, this thing like knocked me on the ground. My nose didn't bleed, but I'm pretty sure it was swollen, and I was absolutely traumatized from this experience. And even to this day, so if anybody like asks me to play volleyball or any type of sport, I am the first one that is like, nope, sorry, I am out, because I legitimately have a phobia of balls flying at my face. I can just not handle it. It was scary. So that's kind of my funny story. So if anybody ever, knows me and tries to play a sport with me, you'll know that I'm the first one to bail on that kind of stuff. So so that's my story. All right, Casey, your turn. Let's hear your
Okay,
story.
so my story, I was in the 4th grade and we were on some kind of field trip. So we had to bring our packed lunch. And so I loved Doritos, like the nacho cheese flavored Doritos. And I was sitting next to my air quotes boyfriend at the time, 4th grade love. It's so intense. So I was sitting next to, my 4th grade boyfriend, and I farted as I was eating a chip. And it was so traumatic that I didn't eat nacho flavored Doritos for a really long time. I mean, I would eat the other flavors because, Doritos are good. Not good for you, but they taste good. But the nacho cheese ones gave you gas in my mind. So
different chemical composition that just had to bring on the farts.
Exactly. So stay away from those. If you have a 4th grader, don't let them eat that, especially if they have a boyfriend, because they will fart.
Gosh, dude, that is traumatizing enough to make someone not want to go back to school, let alone not eat nacho Doritos.
I know, it was really bad.
Yeah.
We're still friends on Facebook though, so.
Are you really?
Yeah, maybe he forgot about it.
That's hilarious. I feel like when you're young, you don't tend to remember a lot of little things like that, but to someone else, it is like a dramatic story that they will carry on for the rest of their lives. But if they were to bring it up to you, you'd be like, what? When did that happen? They were like, how could you possibly forget that?
Yep. Well, we'll see when he listens to this podcast, if he was like, hey, I do remember that.
Yeah. So, hey, friend, I actually just started this podcast and you should probably go listen to it because I'm talking about you.
Exactly.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So on that note of gas, Megan, do you have another segment that we want to do is a one bite-sized piece of advice? So Megan, what is that?
All right, guys. So, our one bite-sized piece of advice for the week is going to be chew your food so you don't fart. So Casey would have just chewed her Doritos a little bit better. Maybe she would have not have farted next to her fourth grade boyfriend that day. So basically, guys, when we don't chew our food properly, especially initially before chewing our food, taking the time to like relax and then focus on really chewing our food, at least like 15 to 20 to even 30 bites per, chews per bite. I mean, try it. That's like an exercise that I want to put out there to all you guys. Next time you guys eat anything, just see how many, chews you can get in before you're like, I cannot physically chew this thing anymore. I mean, food in our mouth gets broken down so much, and it turns into a completely different, composition than what we put in our mouths originally. So a lot of people don't realize that. Mm-hmm. And when we don't chew our food and we're kind of just like talking to someone or driving in the car and we're just taking a couple bites, a couple chews, and then swallowing, we've got these larger than our body can deal with particle sizes in our stomach. And that's when actually people get, farts and gas and indigestion. And it can even get worse, as like diarrhea and constipation, but we'll get into all that kind of stuff in time. But yeah, so chew your food. So Casey, if only you would have known to chew your food when you were in fourth grade, you could have just avoided that whole uncomfortable situation there. So
yep, exactly.
So yeah, so that's like our tidbit for the day. Chew your food, guys. Our one bite-sized piece of advice. Casey, do you have any fun, I don't know, little advice to throw on to chew your food?
Yeah, just going off of what you said, make sure that you take that moment before you really start eating just to take a deep breath, say a prayer, just get into that rest and digest mode. Mm-hmm. That way your brain is telling your body, hey dude, it's time to start eating. This is what we're doing right now. That would be just in addition to that, but we will get way more into digestion in future episodes.
Oh, yes. Soon to come, you guys. Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of really juicy information to come from us, you guys. I mean, Casey and I are super excited to bring you a bunch of really, really cool topics about holistic health and wellness and basically just like lifestyle tips and knowledge. That way you guys can really just take care of yourselves and develop, a healthy lifestyle for the long run that's sustainable, right? That's what we want to give you guys the tools and tricks to do. And we're also going to be talking a lot about non-toxic living because basically, the ultimate goal of every single day of our lives is to really limit the toxic load that we expose ourselves to. The toxic load in the environment, in the air that we breathe, and the water we drink, and the food that we eat, but also it comes down to like what we're putting in and on our skin. So all those things really matter at the end of the day. And I mean, that's what this whole podcast is, definitely growing into. And of course, as we sit here with episode 1, we're just a little seed, but we are quickly growing into a beautiful flower. And it's going to be a great thing. So all good things to come soon, you guys. All good things to come soon.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. You can find me at caseypoe.com or Instagram at Real Talk Casey. And you can also find Megan on Instagram at megan.gump. Thank you, guys. And we look forward to seeing you next week.
Yep. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week, guys.